Top-seeded Bucks and the Celtics. Miami returns Jimmy Butler along with emerging stars Bam Adebayo. Everybody got familiar. And, of course, Tyler Hero. Stephen A., can you explain this to me? Why does it seem like everybody's ignoring the Heat, though, when we're talking about this upcoming season in the East?
I think because, number one, a lot of people looked at what transpired last year as an aberration. They snuck up on some folks, the bubble kind of atmosphere. They were more disciplined, ready to go, and people viewed it that way. I think that also with the arrival of Kevin Durant in Brooklyn, that's going to steal the attention of a lot of folks. Of course, the Greek Freak is going to get his attention because he just signed for $228 million, an average of $45.6 million a year. And then you look at Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey, both in Philadelphia, with them adding a Seth Curry and some shooters to their squad. So now we're looking and waiting to see, even though we're not sure that they're going to be the team. Clearly, they've tweaked things and they're moving in a forward direction. When you consider that Elton Brand is still there, Doc Rivers has arrived, and Daryl Morey is your president of basketball operations. The combination of that with the Greek Freak signing, with the Brooklyn Nets getting a healthy Kevin Durant into the equation to go along with a healthy Kyrie returning from the shoulder surgery, the Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie's of the world being there. Those three teams have stolen so many headlines, and the one headline that we've had from Miami, other than signing Bam Adebayo to his extension, is the fact that they're not going to get the Greek Freak because it's rather than approach free agency with an open mind, he closed the door on all of that by re-upping with Milwaukee. Those things have Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and Philadelphia in the mind's eye, and that is why everybody has been ignoring the Miami Heat.
I think I agree with some of that, but I think you can sum it up much more simply. It comes down to this. Fans know, because everyone who's experienced the NBA over a number of years they know it in their gut, that unless you have an MVP caliber player on your roster, you're probably not going to win the championship. And when you look at the Heat, you don't see an MVP. Jimmy Butler's great. He's a perennial all-star. He's just the kind of guy you want on your team. He's not an MVP. Not in a league with LeBron James and the Freak and AD and KD and those kind of. That's why you identified those guys. The Freak's in Miami and KD is in Brooklyn. You're mentioning MVP five-star players. So we're not used to seeing teams like the Heat with just multiple all-stars. That's one reason. There's no MVP. But number two is because you sleep on the roster. People just sleep on this roster. Think of how many guys can go get their shot under pressure at an above-average level, right? You don't even think about Dragic. Dragic does work in the playoffs. These are playoff-tested guys who can go get a shot, right? Go get you a bucket when you need it. Jimmy Butler, obviously. But here's another. Tyler Hero. Because you don't think, when you think of the Heat roster, you think Jimmy Butler and Bam, and obviously Duncan Robinson can bomb, and Jay Crowder's a Swiss Army knife player who can also shoot, and Kendrick Nunn, you like all these players, and you throw Tyler Hero in that mix. Not stopping to think, this dude can go get you 35 in a conference finals. He's that kind of player, and he's only 20. He's not built like a defender. He's not like a long guy who's ever going to be like, oh my God, a shutdown defender. But offensively, Tyler Hero may be just scratching the surface. Guys 20 years old playing like that in the playoffs. So now you look at the roster and go, no, they don't have an MVP, but damn, they got your all-star leader in Jimmy Butler, another all-star caliber player in Bam. Dragic can go get his shot in crunch time and is really a plus player. Tyler Hero is a rising star, and then you got all of this other stuff around them. Well, that's why there's no MVP. And people are basically sleeping on the roster.
Well, listen, Crowder's gone. He's in Phoenix now. Secondly, when you look at the Miami Heat.
Oh, yeah, excuse me. That's right.
Goran Dragic is coming back. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's all right. It's okay. It happens. So the point is that you got that going on. And listen, I like what I see from them in terms of the young player, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero. They're the future. They can really shoot. Tyler Hero really showed himself. Butler's still there. Bam Adebayo is there. But when you look at Brooklyn, Philadelphia, and Milwaukee, the Miami Heat, as constructed, isn't supposed to be able to beat at least two of those teams. Not if you bring your A game, and I think that's how a lot of people do it. Like you said, you can say it more succinctly in terms of having that star, but those other teams have stolen headlines. But think about it. With Philly, you got Doc Rivers coaching Simmons and Embiid. In Brooklyn, you got KD and Kyrie. In Milwaukee, you still have the Greek Freak. And so when you look at it from that perspective, along with the fact that if you're coming out of the East, no one's really expecting you to beat the Lakers anyway. All of that would contribute to the Heat being ignored. But they're still a playoff team. They're still the reigning Eastern Conference champions. And by the way, I think because of perimeter shooting, which they can deliver, they're going to have a lot to say about what transpires in the East when all is said and done. They'll get to the conference semifinals, and we'll see how they look from there.
You know, they got
the Bucks and Nets
all-star caliber players. Sorry, Miley. No, I'm just saying they got, like, I think a lot of it comes down to how you perceive Tyler Hero. Like, Duncan Robinson can shoot the lights out. But if you think of Tyler Hero more like an all-star than just some kid who's coming up, and he plays like an all-star in the playoffs, all of a sudden you're like, Bam, Butler, Tyler Hero. You got 3 all-star caliber players plus all the other dudes. I don't know. They're a whole lot of. And then there's the Heat culture with Pat Riley and Spoelstra. That's a whole lot of.
Yeah, but according to Vegas, they're still betting on the Bucks and Nets ahead of the Heat, even though they're the defending champs there in the East. All right, guys, when we come back, Big Perks joining us, and we finish up our NBA season preview. Giannis, AD, and LeBron up next. Oh, my, don't miss those debates in just a bit. Max, Stephen A., and Perk.
Russell Westbrook in red, white, and blue Saturday night as he made his Washington Wizards preseason debut. Russ's first go-around with his third NBA team lasted just 17 minutes. He knocked down 4 shots in 10 attempts, 8 points, 3 assists, plenty of excitement as well for a Wizards team that could use a little excitement moving forward. Welcome in, everybody. It is the latest edition of Game Time. Good to have you with us. I'm Matt Weiner here, wrapping up the final night of the NBA preseason before opening night on Tuesday with the TNT doubleheader. We'll get to all 3 preseason games throughout the show, but this is a show for predictions as well. And for that, I'm joined by the Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas. And Zeke, let's get into this. We're going to go through a bunch of potential award winners and scenarios for the 2021 NBA season. And let's start with your Rookie of the Year pick.
You know, Matt, I'm taking James Wiseman, Golden State Warriors. I think that the offense that they run and the style of play that they have is perfect for him. I think he'll get a lot of minutes, and I think he has the wow factor. And once he goes around the block, and what I mean by the block, I mean go around the league once or twice, I think he's going to figure the league out. And I think his talent and his athleticism will definitely take him to the next level.
You know, I have no reason to think that James Wiseman won't have a really solid rookie season with the Golden State Warriors, but I'm going to go with LaMelo Ball, who was also the choice of the executives in the NBA.com GM survey, mostly because of the excitement factor. This guy is a gifted passer, and you know what that means, Zeke? It means highlights. It means people will be watching him, and I know the shooting numbers could be a little scary, and he's playing behind a couple of really good guards, but I see LaMelo Ball averaging 7-8 assists a game, and in what I think will be a crowded field, I think he's got as good a shot as anybody to walk away with Rookie of the Year. All right, let's go Coach of the Year now. Who you got?
I'm taking Steve Nash, and the reason why I take Steve Nash, I think he's got a loaded team. He's got, a coaching staff that just is about as good as anybody. Got D'Antoni sitting next to him. He's got, Amari Stoudemire. They know their offense. They know their style of play. He's coming in with an understanding of how he wants to play. And then he's got the pieces and the talent to play that the way he wants to play. I think he's going to have a fantastic first year as a coach. And I do think he'll be the Coach of the Year.
Certainly has the roster to make it happen. I chose Brad Stevens from the Boston Celtics as much as anything because he hasn't won the award yet. And Zeke, as you know, he is widely regarded as one of the best head coaches in the NBA. I like the continuity in Boston, as you'll see when we go over our standings here in a moment. I actually think the Gordon Hayward departure could sort of solidify some roles there in Boston as well. And I think at the end of it, he's got a good shot of being rewarded with his first ever Coach of the Year award. Time for Most Valuable Player. Zeke, who is it?
I'm going to go with Kevin Durant. When he was healthy, he was the best player in the league at that time. Although LeBron James has the best, body of work over a period of years, I thought Durant, the way he was coming along and the way that he was playing the last couple of years before he got injured, he was looked at as the best player in the league. And I do think